Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. All right, great. So listen, welcome to... Okay, great. I had to mute the lines. All right, well, you guys, welcome to our third week English call. For those of you who are on the phone for the very first time, my name is Karla, and it is exactly 9 a.m. California time, so thank you for everybody for being on time. And basically the way we're going to run this call, for those of you who are here for the first time, this is going to be a 6-week series, and then we'll reassess and reevaluate and then change topics. But every week we're having a different topic. Just to give you a summary, the first week was all about disciplines, and we all took on the challenge of going ahead and taking on 3 disciplines that we were going to do throughout the week. So congratulations for those who actually text their sponsor with their 3 disciplines and follow through with them. And then last week we talked about, the growth gap and what is it that holds us back. If we really want to become better people and have personal development, a lot of the times people want to improve, they want to be better, but there's something that holds them back. And the question is, what is that, right? And so that was last week's call. So to this week is going to be, we're going to start the topic of leadership. So, but before I do that, I want to hear from a couple of you guys. And, it's so silly because I don't know why at the morning call, I don't know if it's because it's too early or something, but you guys are so shy. So we're not going to move forward until somebody shares, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to request for whoever wants to share to press *6, and that will open up the line. And then, go ahead and say my name, and then I'll be able to hear you. So does somebody want to share about what has happened for you these last 2 weeks? What have you done? What have you realized? And anything you have, and maybe questions or just anything you want to celebrate. So press *6 and the lines will open. Okay, maybe I'm the one that needs to open the lines. Hang on a second really quick.
Hello.
Okay, sorry, Abigail, press *6 again. Sorry, I muted you. Press *6 again, Abigail. I muted you accidentally. Sorry. Abby? Okay, so hang on. Can you hear me? Okay, hold on. Okay, there we go. All right, who wants to share?
All right, I will.
Okay, go ahead. So, Abby, go ahead.
Yeah, this is Abby. Anyways, so as far as for this last week's homework with the growth, I looked at 2 different areas, and I'm going to share one of them. And I noticed I wanted to grow in my business, and I was trying to figure out what is it that's holding me back? Because there's a lot of times that I'm just I'm not going anywhere, and it almost felt like every single one of the growth gaps, I was like, oh, that's me, oh, that's me, oh, that's me. But that's just because I'm not growing. However, when I really started looking at them and thinking, I realized that as far as my business, I always say that it's a combination of inspiration and expectation. It was so loud. With the,
okay. Hang on. You guys, please, everybody press *6 because we can hear your noise. So go ahead, everybody press *6 just once, except for Abigail. Go ahead, everybody press *6. Thank you. Okay, go ahead, Abby.
Thank you. So with inspiration, I realized that I like you said, I was looking for something to say. Okay, I was always like, oh, the next event's gonna motivate me, or oh, the next big speaker, or oh, when I see this, something big's gonna happen, I'm just gonna be like, wow. And really, what it is that voice in my head that I don't want to talk negative to it, but it's kind of too comfortable to the point where it's making it lazy, where it's just oh, something's going to happen. But what I noticed is that I kind of had to just tell it to go away and get to work and then start, doing the work, which the work in this sense is just talking to people, getting back out there, getting back on the horse. And then the other thing that would go in that with me that I noticed is expectation. I don't know, just because I've been in Herbalife for 12 years and it's been so long that I kind of just think, or I thought that it's just natural that I'm going to just get to president's team at some point because this is what I'm doing for life, so I'm not in a hurry. And I was too comfortable. And then I kind of started realizing that it doesn't just happen. It's a lot of work, and I'm not just going to think myself president's team. Although, with these calls, I realize that you do have to kind of envision it's going to happen. So combining that with action, I've noticed that I am getting better at making sales and being more attractive to, like, when I talk to people, they're actually interested. They don't just kind of, like, roll their eyes. Like, they're like, oh, okay, what does she have? I kind of want it. So that's, I mean, I've noticed that my sales are better. I'm working smarter, I've realized, and I kind of feel satisfied with that because I don't like invites, but whenever I'm doing invites and the people are responsive, that makes me kind of want to do more. Yes, that's it.
Okay, awesome. There's somebody that has a speaker that's on their speaker phone. Please press star 6 because we can kind of hear your noise in the background. So everybody who has not pressed star 6, please do that now so that I don't have to close all the lines. We're big people, so I trust that everybody will follow instructions. So there's still somebody that still hasn't pressed star 6. Press star 6 so we can mute your line. Please. Okay. All right. Thank you, Abigail. All right. Anybody else wants to share? We're now moving on, people, until somebody press star 6 and your line will open until somebody shares. So anybody else wants to share? Okay, I'm going to wait. You guys press star 6. Whoa, somebody who's in a club. Okay. Anybody else wants to share?
Can you hear me, Karla?
Yes, I can. You sound like in a big echo. Let me close it. Who's that? Is that Lily?
Yes.
Okay, great. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to press star 5 to mute everybody, and then I'm going to say, Lily, press star 6, and then that will unmute you. Okay, hold on. Okay, Lily, go ahead and press star 6 once. Okay, or press star 5. Can't remember one of those two.
Star 5?
There we go.
Okay. All right, so, acá Lily desde Kaufman. I was sharing with Abigail that this course has helped me so much to see, like she said, to see where the homework from last week. One of my things also is it's inspiration, like what's going to inspire me. And what I found out is myself. My kids are out of school. They got their own stuff, and that was my going. You know, me in my inspiration was other people. You know, so I had to look at everything and say, okay, what is it that Lilia wants? And that's what got me moving now, because I'm 50. I'm going to be 53, and I said one day when I was 50, I wanted to travel the world, and I wanted to do a lot of things that I'm not doing yet. So that got me inspired again, and also this call has helped me so much to realize that the things that I'm thinking is not going to get done unless I get in action. So that's what has been happening to me this last, this is the third week. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, great. All right, so go ahead and press star 6 again for Lily, and I will mute your line. Okay, anybody else wants to share? Press star. Lily, did you press star 5 or star 6 the first time? Oh, wait, you just muted yourself. Okay, anybody else wants to share? Press star 5, and you will unmute your line. We'll take one more share. Okay, there we go. Okay, anybody want to share? Sorry, I had you guys muted. Anybody else want to share?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Who's that?
Hi, it's Sylvia. I would like to share.
Go ahead, Sylvia.
So one of the big things for me that I got last week was that I think the last event that I went to, they talked about like having bursts of momentum in your business, like just going with a burst. And what I've noticed is that when I have that burst of momentum in my business, everything is going good. Even though I'm doing like my invitations every single day, I'm not getting the response from the invitations, but somehow I guess through the energy, it's like people are coming from a different direction. But then something happens in my life, and I just let go of the gas completely. And I lose complete, like, focus, momentum, and that's why my business at this point isn't growing the way it should, because I just create momentum for a little while, and then I completely let off the gas. So one of the things that I'm committed to working on moving forward is realizing when there is, like, chaos going on and learning to work through the chaos, not just, like, let go of the gas completely, because once you lose the full momentum that you have, you're waiting for that next event for someone to come and inspire you. So I caught myself last night telling my husband, I'm not going to the end of month celebration because I'm going to get my inspiration from Extravaganza in a week. So I just really got present to that. So I'm really committed to working on that. So thank you.
Awesome. Okay, great. Okay, great. Well, thank you so much, Abigail and Lily and Sylvia, for sharing, and so awesome. And here's the thing, you guys, for everybody else, maybe you're A, just shy, or B, you're in a very loud place, which is why you're not wanting to share. But I really want you guys to get, for 1 minute, one of these things that all these three women have in common is that not only are they willing to put themselves out there, but also they're willing to share what they're getting. And as you start sharing and you start saying, expressing it verbally, you will start noticing that the person, there's a saying, like, the one that talks the most is the one that's getting most convinced. So I really invite you guys for next week's call to really step up. This is a call to really get each and every one of us to develop as leaders, okay? Then one of the things that a leader does is they step up. So I want to congratulate Abigail, and I know it's sometimes a little challenging. I don't want to say hard because that word will then manifest itself into difficulty, right? But it is challenging sometimes to really put yourself out there and really say, hey, you know what? This is what I noticed about myself. Hey, you know what? This is what I realized, and I don't want that. Or like I love what Sylvia just said. She realized that because she is she said, I'm going to wait for next week's motivation extravaganza. Bam, she caught herself, and at that moment, she can make that switch. So what I can't step over that. And same thing with all three ladies actually realized a lot about themselves. And here's the thing: I want you to first thing to write down, because today's call is about leadership. Okay, so now we're going to get the first two. We're really just to start getting you aware of being self-aware, to really start being in tune with yourself. Because really nothing can change unless you start being willing to be vulnerable and putting yourself out there within yourself, okay? So the first thing I want you guys to get is that the first week was all about discipline. And the reason why we talked about that was because the magic is in the discipline. I love what, Lily shared. She can think about everything she wants to do, like, oh, yeah, I have to, submit my 10 customer form, or, oh, yeah, I got to call this customer. But consider that thinking or knowing, write this down, makes no difference. No difference at all, because we all know so many things that we need to do. We all know how to do them, but unless you actually get into action, it makes no difference. So knowing makes no difference. Does it help? Absolutely. But here's the thing. Once you know and you become aware, and then you actually drive some action behind that knowledge, the magic happens. And that's why the first week was all about discipline, becoming disciplined with the little things. I love it. Somebody Facebooked me the other day, said, I've made my bed every day. I know you guys might think, or it sounds a little silly, but something that simple, right, can start shifting one thing to the next. Because write this down if you didn't last time. Everything affects everything. Sometimes we think it doesn't matter what we say, what we think, who we hang out with, who we're around, but I'm telling you, everything affects everything. The other day I was on YouTube looking at this channel, right, and then all of a sudden on the right-hand side, I noticed this channel thing, right, like it tells you like other things they suggest to watch. And there was this thing, I don't even know what it's called, but the point is I clicked on it, and it was not relevant to what I was watching. Like, let's say I was watching about dogs, and this video was about the sky. I mean, like, nothing to do one with the other, right? But I'm like, okay, what is the universe trying to tell me, right? So I clicked on it, and it was about metaphysics. And I'm not going to get into the whole details about it, but basically the point is that science has been able to prove that we see this space, this empty space, right? So you see like your bed or your house or your car, and we think those are material, like solid things. And then we think everything in between is empty space. And they have actually been able to prove that there is no such thing as empty space. That really what's between you and me or between things and objects is actually a lot of energy. Why I'm telling you this is because that energy, you becoming self-aware and start realizing, okay, you know what, that doesn't work. And then start becoming self-aware. I love what Sylvia just shared, and then at that moment, you can decide, am I going to get in the car and go to the celebration? Great, or maybe it's too late to go. But the fact that you're self-aware, next time, you're going to catch yourself. Because sometimes we repeat these patterns over and over again, and you don't even realize that we're doing it. So awesome shares. And I'm really going to challenge each and every one of you guys. By the way, I get a report of who's on these calls. My computer, on my email, I actually know who's on the call. So I know who's on the call. Please, you guys, next week, step up, share. Go into the bathroom, share for a couple of minutes, and if you're in a loud place, then sit back to wherever you're at. Because I'm telling you, to be able to contribute, what you put out will be given back to you. So, okay, enough about that. All right, you guys, so let's go ahead and talk about this topic today. And today's topic is about leadership. The first thing I want you to write down is this: developing the leader within you. Okay, so we're not going to talk about how to become like a leader out there, okay, how to become a leader like, in the government or whatever, right? We're going to talk about how to become a leader within you, within yourself. And the first thing you want to get is that the key to success or to anything is the ability to lead others successfully. Okay, so that's going to be the whole focus for the next of the 4 weeks. It's going to be how to become a leader, but more importantly, to lead others successfully. Write this down. Everything rises and falls in leadership. Everything rises and falls in leadership. Okay, so you want to understand that right now you are leading at a certain skill level. Whatever it is that you know has got you leading at that level. Okay, any skill set. So like, let's say from a 1 to 10, you have a skill set of like a 7, okay, as an example. So if you have a skill set of a 7, okay, that is where you're leading. The effectiveness of your work will never rise above that level, will never rise above the ability for you to lead or to influence others above that. That's why in Herbalife, they're always saying, you want more, you got to become more. You want to get to president's team, you first have to become a president's team. That's what they're talking about, is really getting you up there at a skill set level by becoming more yourself, because you'll never be able to lead other people higher than that level, okay? So, and sometimes you might be able to, but you cannot produce consistently on a higher level than your leadership. Never. So what I mean by that is this. Write this down. Leadership is influence. Okay? Leadership is influence. And your leadership skills really determine the levels of success, not only for yourself, but all those around you. So you can't teach something you don't know. Now, I know I said that knowing makes no difference, but what I'm talking about here is like knowing about, like, for example, if you want to know more about your business, if you want to know more, you want to lead better within your business, you have to become more knowledgeable about the marketing plan. You have to start self-educating yourself on what will make a difference with your team. Okay, next week we're going to talk about the 5 levels of leadership, but for now I really want you to get that leadership is all due to influence. A lot of people think that it has, something to do with power or whatever. It has nothing to do with that. I mean, you could lead people forcefully, but it's not sustainable, okay? So you want to start understanding that the more you commit yourself to learning about leadership and really transforming the leader within you, and you commit to that with not only a commitment, but a true desire. See, because you could say, okay, well, I'm going to listen to these audios, and you're like half butt listening to the audios, right? But if you're committed to listening to the audios and you combine that with a true desire, you are going to be blown away at the results you're going to be able to get. I mean, I can't even tell you how many books I've read from the beginning since I think it was April. Since April to now, I don't even know how many books on leadership I've read. Okay? Why? Because I've got this big project. If I want to play a big game, I got to become a bigger person. I can't be sucked into anything other than something bigger than myself. This weekend I actually had an opportunity to hang out with this couple, and this lady was telling a friend of mine, she was asking her all kinds of questions, right? And this is a couple who has caused tremendous amount of success. Her husband just became a best-selling author with Brian Tracy. All these magical things have happened, right? And he is like really becoming a leader. He's always been a leader within his organization of real estate, but now he's becoming a leader in other areas of his life. And Diana asked the wife, what have you guys done? And she said, we always hang out. We have always, lately actually, we've hung out for the last 2 years. We've hung out with people that are bigger than us in every way, money, spiritually, knowledge, everything. It's like my husband now is friends with billionaires. She's like, we're not even millionaires, which I don't think that's true, but whatever. The point is, she's like, we are hanging around with billionaires. You want to play a big game, you got to surround yourself with people bigger than you. And here's the thing, Deanna told her, a lot of my friends are like giving me a hard time because I don't hang out with them. Actually, they don't even want to hang out with me anymore because they're partying, they're drinking, they're doing all this stuff. And Viviana turned to her and said, look, you either give up that to have a new powerful life, or you give up a new powerful life to continue with that. I thought that was so brilliant, right? So here's the thing you want to get. Everything is influencing you. I don't know if I did this last week on your call or the Spanish call. I get them all mixed up now. But the point is, you got to get that a leader, that's what they do, they influence. And you are a leader at some level with people around you. So I want to really start having you start looking at what was the Spanish one. What influence do you have in your life? Really, that's going to be one of your homeworks this week. Start getting present. Look around you. Who's influencing how you think, how you speak, what you're reading, what you're watching, what you're listening to, what you're eating, how you're exercising? Start looking around and start noticing, okay, what and who is influencing you, number one. Second assignment for this week is what kind of influence are you giving others? Because next week we're going to talk about the 5 levels of leadership, but I want to start giving the foundation here is what type of leadership or influence are you giving others? See, here's the thing. We're going to get this next week, but the thing here is that every time you have a level of influence with people, with different level of influence with different people. For example, your parents have a certain level of influence on you, and it might be really great. But maybe you've been in sports your whole life, and your coach, your volleyball coach, for example, has always been there for you. So all of a sudden, that person, even though your parents have a great influence on you, your coach has a different level of influence on you. So I want you to start looking at that. Everybody that you have around you, what do they have you thinking, seeing, listening to, speaking, eating, doing, everything? Start paying attention. And I want you to start also paying attention, what kind of influence are you giving others, okay? Now, before we conclude the call, here's the thing I want you to get, and let's write this down, okay? A lot of people ask the question, is a leader taught or is a leader born? Now, there's an argument there, right, and everybody has their own thought about that. Now, I personally do believe that there are people that are born with natural talents, and they're just born with the ability to sing, born with the ability to dance. Now, maybe you and I were not born with those skill sets, but could we learn? Absolutely. Could we learn how to sing? Can we learn how to dance? Yeah. Could we be as great of dancers as Michael Jackson? Maybe not, but we could be pretty good at it, right? So I personally feel leadership is the same way. I do feel there's people that are born with those natural talents, Mark Hughes, Jim Rohn being one of them, Oprah Winfrey, people that are just born natural influencers. But here's the thing, they also developed themselves. So just because you're born with the ability does not mean that you're actually developing the ability. So there's a huge difference, right? Or not a huge difference, but they one go hand in hand. So you could be born with it, but you still got to develop it. But if you're not born with such skill set level as a Jim Rohn, but you definitely could develop yourself and teach yourself the ability and the skill set that you need in order to increase your leadership, okay? So personally, I do think that it can be taught. The traits of leadership really can be taught. Now, here's the thing. Like I said, if you link that with the desire, you can produce phenomenal results, okay? Now, that's what these calls are all about. These calls are to not only give you the skills, but the principles. but you got to bring the desire to the table, okay? Like, we can only do so much. And I love it. Thank you, Lily, for sharing this. She said that she's listened to some of these calls throughout the week. Maybe you don't have time, or maybe, hold on a second. Maybe you didn't make the time to read or do some personal development, but you can do the redial on this, do the replay on this number and listen to it, maybe in the car or whatever, and then just get a little inspiration, because I say a little inspiration because, like we said last week, the inspiration must come within if it's going to last, okay? So before we conclude, I want to give you two distinctions, because next week we're going to get a little deeper on this leadership situation. But I want to distinguish the difference between managing people and leading people, okay? Because a lot of the times we can get those mixed up. Management really, they assure that the task, the job, the program, whatever you want to call it, the objectives, that they are implemented. Like, they're there to make sure that the job gets done. That's a manager, right? They're like breathing on top of their guys, right? Like, make sure this gets done. Make sure that gets done. A leader, and I want you to write this down, cast the vision, like a net, right? Like, boom, I don't know if you've ever seen fishermen bring out this, they throw out this little net, and boom, it expands into this huge net and gets into the water and captures all these fishes, right? So a leader, that's the vision that I get from it. It casts a vision, and it motivates people. They have the ability to influence those around him or her. Okay, so people don't want to be managed. People don't want to be told what to do, but they do want to be inspired to do what they need to do. And so throughout this week, the third level of homework, the first one is who's influencing you. The second one is how are you influencing others? And the third is notice when and where in your life you're managing people, like telling them what to do and how to do it, right? And then, like, this is one of the things I was telling my friend Jay the other day. I really got the other day, and for those of you who have known me for a long time, you'll be very happy to hear this. I really got the other day how for such a long time I wanted to impose my ideas and my views on people. For example, the other day, Jay spent the night here. He slept on the couch and he hurt his back, and so I went to go give him a pillow. And I put a pillow on the couch. It's like a Tempur-Pedic pillow. And then he's like, oh, my God, my back hurts so bad, And I'm like, why don't you lay on the floor? It might help you, like, stretch out. And he's like, no, I don't think so. At that moment, I was about to start proving my point. Like, what do you mean? No, you don't understand. Being straight on the floor is really going to help you, blah, 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 right? But before I started going there, I caught myself. And I'm like, okay, hold on. Cállate, Karla. Be quiet, So when he said, no, I don't think so, because every time I lay on the floor, it actually hurts worse. I said, okay, because he's a grown man, right? Like, all I could do is share, like, my idea with him, but not impose my idea on him. So very different. So I want you this week to start noticing where are you wanting, and it's a natural thing, especially with the people that you love. Like, you sometimes – you can't help it, but sometimes it's just like, it's a natural thing. You want people that you love, you want to share with them. Like, no, don't do that. It's gonna, but then at the end of the day, people got to learn on their own. Like, really, the other day, this lady said to me, you got to give people the space that they need in order to learn the lesson that they need to learn. So I know as parents, you guys get that, right? Sometimes you want to tell your kids how to do it, when to do it, and why not to do it. But sometimes you just got to keep your mouth shut and let them trip and fall, and then go, oh, maybe I should, do my laces, tie my shoelaces so I don't fall and trip, right? But until they fall and trip, well, they maybe not realize, oh, it's important to keep their shoelaces tied. That's just an example, right? So the third level of homework is I want you to start looking where in your life are you managing people, and see if you can at that moment switch to influencing them, to motivating them to take action from their own goodwill. So it's exactly 9:30 California time. So you guys remember, though, thank you. And for those of you who get on the call a little bit after 9, I want you to know I start the call at 9 sharp because I really want to, again, develop the ability to be disciplined with your time, right? So I'm going to encourage everybody to get on the call 5 minutes before so that you don't miss anything with the call. So I'm gonna stop recording, and then I'm gonna open the lines for any questions and answers. So hold on a second, really quick.